Good morning, everyone. How are you lovely people today on this gorgeous, perfect summer's morning? I hope you're all well. We've just had 2 days of rain. We had one day where it just rained all day. Oh, it's so heavenly. Kind of gentle rain, just the sort of rain you want to start with, so it's not pinging off the baked soil. Soaking in, and then as the day went on it got heavier and heavier, yay! And then yesterday, even more rain. Oh, beautiful. On the Thursday rain day, I came to harvest in the rain. It was just absolute bliss. I got soaked wet through, but I didn't care because it was still really quite warm. But I had a load of things to pick. So partly because I was making food for a picnic for the next day, but also because there's loads of stuff ready, so I thought, oh, you know what, any excuse to go and smell the garden in the rain. Absolutely gorgeous. So it really feels like it's cleared the air as well. So this morning we have beautiful blue sky, really bright sunshine, but the temperature is kind of normal again for us here in the UK. So it's about 20 degrees today. It's not going to get much more. What a difference that makes after 33, 34, 35 degrees, which is just insane for us here. So today it's mostly going to be about tidying up, because there's not really much weeding to do as such, but there's a mass of deadheading, because with the heat and the rain things have gone mad and then they've gone over a bit. And so to just prolong the life of all my flowers, I'll do some deadheading. Also, I want to do some harvesting today because, well, I'll show you with the Coco de Paimpol, they've really struggled this year, as have all my beans. It's not been a good bean year for me. So I'm going to go on a bit of a rescue mission today because it looks like some of them are starting to go over already. So I want to sort of be on the ball as much as I can and harvest. I want to get every single last morsel of food out of this garden this year. So yeah, lots to do. But I don't think I'll be going in a hurry because it's such a beautiful day and a few of my plot neighbours are out and about already, so I'm sure we'll be chattering and you'll probably hear some of them in the background. One of my neighbours is about to go on holiday, so she's down with a friend this morning giving her watering instructions. Oh, we have to do so much organising to go away in the summer, don't we, for our little vegetable babies. Yes, so I'm going to get on. No hurry, we'll just go nice and gently and enjoy this beautiful, perfect English summer day. What a gorgeous morning! Oh my goodness. Now, this is going to seem hard to believe, but this whole calendula bed I completely stripped about 10 days ago. Deadheaded, and then literally every single bloom, every viable flower head harvested for their petals. And look at this in the space of, like I say, about 10 days. So I've got some blooms which I can harvest today, and then for the vast majority of the bed I'm going to completely deadhead it / harvest it. But then what I'm going to do now is at that far end, maybe not quite a metre square, maybe more like 70 centimetre square patch of them, I'm going to leave them now to start to sort of earmark them for seed. And I've already been asked this morning by one of my neighbours if she can have some seed for next year. So absolutely. What will eventually happen in the whole bed is that the whole bed will eventually become a seed bed or seed saving bed. But with such beautiful colour coming, still plenty of little buds coming, I'm going to do this today to see if I can give myself another lovely big flush of this gorgeousness through the rest of August and maybe even into September. Yay! It's going to take a while. I've got a deadhead bucket and a blooms bucket. Don't get in a muddle, Vivi. And even some like this, which are starting to go over a little bit. I'm going to save those for their petals. Every petal helps. Such a beautiful way to start my day though. Oh, heavenly. Apart from that socking great aeroplane. Oh, massive jumbo. Something really, really special about getting out into the garden after so much rain. The whole garden, it's like it's sort of tingling with aliveness again. Obviously there's that smell, that petrichor smell from the soil. It's really lovely. I'm sure many of you know that feeling. I'm having to be slightly careful where my feet are because under here's the one row of parsnips that worked. Yay! Nearly there. You can see it's actually quite a time-consuming fiddly job. And if this bed was purely for decoration, just purely decorative flower bed, then I might not be so kind of vigilant about keeping up with all of this deadheading and petal collection. But because it's a harvest for me, it's well worth doing. I should get another little whole flush of flowers now. And if you think about how many, I don't know, tens and tens of pounds I save over the course of the year by making all of my own sort of body care products, skin care, all my own creams and oils, then wow, for the sake of, well, actually the calendula have cost nothing because they're my saved seed. I spend a little bit of money obviously on almond oil, beeswax, that sort of thing. But nothing compared to sort of the mass-produced stuff on the market, which mostly contains water anyway. You'll see it on most products, the first ingredient is invariably aqua. So you're paying for water, you're paying for advertising, you're paying for a bunch of manufactured, man-made chemicals. So, if you're looking to find ways to save some money, save the planet a bit, then have a go next year of growing some calendula for yourself. It's so easy to grow and it's so prolific. And like I say, if you keep on top of the deadheading, you can have a bumper crop. This year I think I'm actually going to end up with more than I need for the rest of the year, going into next year in terms of the petals, which is great because that means I'll have spare that I can make into oil for other people to give as gifts. Another little saver. Right. Last few in this bed, and then I've got the ones that are sort of lining up along the the vegetable cathedral to do. And then I might move on to deadheading in the herb garden as well. because I've had such a fantastic harvest of flowers and petals already from the main calendula bed, I've decided in the cathedral bed I'm going to deadhead, but rather than harvest any of the blooms which are still blooming, I'm going to leave them, because actually this morning there's been a hive of activity with bees and hoverflies and all sorts of other buzzing beauties. So, like I say, I'm going to leave them for the insects, because I've had so many for me that, yeah, I can spare a few. And I think for next year, hopping over, yeah, I think it's a good lesson for next year. If I keep my main calendula bed for me to harvest for my needs, and then keep having other calendula dotted around the place like this for the insects. So yeah, some for me, some for them. Let's be a caring, sharing world. Buzz, 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 the bed goes. It really is a lovely thing to do on such a quiet morning. In fact, it's so quiet, I'm going to stop nattering and enjoy the quiet. Ooh, a lovely breeze. So this year, without doubt, oh, see it's so bright. Yeah, without doubt, one of the big disappointments has been the beans. They're more like has-beens. I think it's just been too hot and dry for them. So I wouldn't normally be expecting to harvest my Coco de Paimpol for another maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks. Beginning of September, middle of September. But so many of them are ready now, and actually some of them are beyond ready. I'm going to try and show you. So yeah, today's a little bit of a rescue mission. Now, when they're green, leave them alone, as in when the pods are green. So they'll start as little flat green pods, and you'll see them, they'll gradually start to swell. And as they swell, they'll start to turn a sort of a pale green, and then almost a cream colour. I'm going to try and find some to show you. A creamy colour, and within the creamy colour, so you can see how swollen the beans are inside. That's about perfect for picking. After they've reached this stage, then they start to develop a little sort of pinky purple streak, almost like you would see on a Belotti, but much paler. So I'll show you on this one. Can you see how it's started to get that slight purple streak to it? This is a little bit beyond where you'd want them to be for harvest, because the beans are starting to get a little bit tougher and a little bit more dry. The idea is to harvest them at this sort of pale yellow stage, when the beans are nice and fat in the pod. Let me show you the beans. And lovely, beautiful, big, fat, round, gorgeous beans. So I will take these home and pod them, and they will go straight into the freezer. There's absolutely no fuss with them, easy peasy. I just put them in loose in a box, whack them in the freezer. That's it. I don't blanch, don't do anything. So they're a fab little bean from that point of view. The other thing, because I'm going to be harvesting quite a few bits and pieces this morning, it's going to take me a while, and it is quite warm. What I've done today is I've frozen a bottle of water overnight in my freezer, got it wrapped up in a towel, and I've brought it down with me in my granny trolley. So when as I'm harvesting, to try and keep things a bit more fresh, that towel, which is now nice and cold because it's been insulating the frozen water, I'm going to put everything in there together, wrapped up in the towel. I'll put the bottle on the outside because I don't actually want to freeze things. I just want to keep them nice and cool until I can get home and get podding. So one of the other things I need to do this morning, because of the stage that they're at, being some of them actually, there's one plant over there that's completely dry now. I'll harvest, but I'm just going to have a look through the whole lot and earmark those that I would like to save for seed for next year, in the hopes that we have a slightly better year next year. And looking at them from here, I think I've got most of them on this side of the bed. There's a handful over there. I might just say, right, that side of the bed, I'm just going to save that whole lot for seed. Although, to be honest, this one down here, I can't believe how quickly the harvest has come this year. So, if you've grown them for the first time this year, keep a close eye on them. I know some people that I shared seed with who live in other parts of the world are harvesting already as well. But if you're growing them in the UK, you might find that yours aren't ready to start picking as well. I'm actually going to pick a few that are still greenish rather than the yellow, just because I can see and feel that they're so fat, and I've just got a feeling that they might all just start to go over in the next couple of days. And I know that I'm not going to be in the garden for at least, I think, probably 2 or 3 days. So rather than risk them going over, just get them out today. And then I've got another bean to pick after this. So my other bean pick today is some of my runner beans. Now I'm sure most of you will have been picking your runners by now, but that's probably because we use them slightly differently. So I let mine get nice and big and mature. The pod at this stage is really tough and really horrid, but I'm not really a fan of the pods anyway. So I pick them at this stage to shell them, and then I freeze the beans. Don't bother with the pods. I can make a pod soup from the pods, whereby I would sort of boil them up for a while, whiz them up, strain them so all that tough stringiness gets removed, so that I'm not actually wasting the pods. And if I don't do that, they'll go onto the compost heap, so again, it's not wasted. But for me, I love their beans, and I like freezing them demi-sec, half wet or half dry, rather like I do with the Coco de Paimpol, because it makes them nice and quick and easy to use. For when I haven't got time to use any of my dried beans, if I've forgotten to soak overnight, it's just nice to have some beans wet in the freezer like this, because like I say, if I've forgotten to do a soak and a boil overnight, then these work brilliantly. Oh, poor beans this year. Absolutely rubbish year. I think that spritzing may have helped, because I think on the sort of the last few flowers I did spritz, they do seem to have set pods, but otherwise, ay caramba, not a good year. So I'm making sure that I absolutely get every last bean from every last plant. Yeah, absolutely waste not, want not. So have a good rummage in your beans, because I know some of you by now will have proper green curtains of foliage, and they do like to hide. If you miss a few and it gets to the end of the season and you're taking your whole lot down, that's the time when, if you find handfuls of them that you've missed from earlier and they've got ginormous, great monster tough things, don't chuck them. Have the beans out, freeze them, use them in soups and stews through the winter. Gorgeous addition. Right, I need to go on a proper little rummage. I just saw another one. How did you escape my notice? Yeah. Because look how the squash foliage is. Oh, I've just seen another butternut. Brilliant. Finding new squash every day. Yeah, it's been taken over a bit, so I do need to have a jolly good rummage, which I shall do now. Leave these for seed for next year. Oh, starting to rattle. Yay! Oh. Another bit of harvesting I want to do today is my chickpeas. That's the borlotti that wasn't supposed to climb, and it's climbing. Some, as you can see, have completely dried and gone over. Others are still a bit green. Now, this is my third year doing chickpeas. The first year was fantastic. Massive amount of germination, massive amount of pod setting, huge harvest, brilliant. Did it again last year, again had absolutely great germination, masses of pods formed, and then the mice beat me to it. So when I came to harvest, pretty much every single pod was empty. So bearing in mind I don't want that to happen again, and how pitiful they are anyway, I'm going to have them out today and then think about what I can put in their space. So literally all I'm going to do is have it out of the ground, and then where I've got one little branch like that, say, and I've got my bucket, literally all I do is run my hand down it like that to have them off. There's some leaves in there as well, but it just means that I don't take all that bit of plant home. I just take home a bucket. I can't even see if you can see because the sun's so bright. Yeah, just take home my bucket like that, and then pot them when I get home. Just to warn anybody who hasn't grown them before and is thinking about it. As I said last year and the year before, I'm pretty sure, they're an absolute devil to pot. They take ages. But you know, if you've got friends round, if you all just sit around the kitchen table chatting, what a lovely thing to do together. Invite your friends round for a podding party, and keep them supplied with cups of tea or their beverage of choice, and you'll have it done in no time. Or if you're doing it on your own, put a play on the radio or something. Put your favourite album on repeat, because it will take more than one album to pod them all. Well, it won't for me this year, will it? Because it's such a scant, pathetic harvest. Now, with the ones that are... Oh, don't lose any, Vivi! With the ones that are dry, I'll store them dried, obviously. With the ones that are still green, I'll just have to freeze them, which isn't ideal in terms of space and storage, but if I have them off green, you know, I'm going to beat the mice to them, so I'd rather have them off green and freeze them than lose what little amount I've got to the mice once again. Because I can't begin to tell you how sad and upsetting that was last year I pretty much lost the whole harvest. Grr. Perfect morning for it. Oh, see, they're all precious this year. Don't want to drop or lose a single one. When I've finished, I'll go over all the soil again, just to make sure I haven't missed a single one. Probably what I'll do with the dry one, I'll just push them all off into a different bucket. I might as well separate them at this stage. Save work when I get home. Such a beautiful plant, isn't it? Such a delicate little leaves. Such a beautiful, delicate little white flowers. Gorgeous. Another little useful job I want to get done today is to remove my lettuce jungle. Wow, just in the last couple of weeks they've bolted massively. So they're going to come out and I'm going to re-sow this bed with probably some more salad leaves, maybe some spinach. But I'm just going to be careful as I do it, because down and in amongst them, I'm hoping I can still find, in fact there is one, my squash. I think it's the little, is it the baby squash that are in this bed, the baby butternut? So I'll just go carefully in case there is any sign of growth from baby butternut. It seems like a massive lettuce to be taking out, but actually I've had masses and masses already from it, so I'm not too disconcerted by it all bolting. It's kind of inevitable. Ah no, I've just found the label in this bed. Apparently I should have some honey nut. Well, there's the beginning of one. Where does it go to? Oh, carefully. Yeah. Let's see if I can come around the other side and get to it from this way. Also with this lettuce, of course, it's going to make a load of obviously very green compost, so I will chop it up with some of the sort of drier things that I'm taking out, just so there's a good mix of brown and green in there. Right, I can see a flower, a squash flower. Oh my giddy goodness. Yeah, they really didn't want to climb these ones, never mind. Well, there it is, but I don't think it's going to do anything. Oh, I don't think it's done. Oh, hold on a minute, there's another bit of squash. Careful, Vivi. Yeah, I might slightly reposition myself. So you can see there's one of the squash, the little honey nuts. And then just here, there's another, but it doesn't look like, it doesn't look like they've done anything. Never mind. It was some seed that I wasn't sure about. Oh, slugs, of course, because it's nice and moist and dark down here for them. Yuck. maybe some slug traps out tonight from all this rain. Yeah, I think what I might do, rather than re-sow this now, is put a slug trap down, and then we've got a couple of really rainy days coming, so leave the slug trap down, let it do its work, and then come back in a couple of days to re-sow. Just being really careful here, because there is a squash climbing here. All of this can come out now. Yeah. God, it's been a while since I've seen any bare soil down here. Yeah, where is the start of it? Right there, right next to the support. Go gently. Oh, can you imagine if I was pulling all this out and accidentally pulled my squash out? I'd be devoured. Yeah, so this one actually does have one fruit. That's a baby butternut, that's not a honey nut, not by any means. So I think I must have had a gap there and plugged it with a spare baby butternut. Well, there we go. It's definitely the garden of surprises this year. What a lovely morning this has been. As you can probably tell from the colour of my face, it's actually starting to get a wee bit warm again. But there's a lovely breeze, it's beautiful. There's literally, apart from my neighbour first thing this morning, oh hey Poppy, there's been no one around but of course the cats. It's been absolutely heavenly. I'm surprised I haven't seen folk this morning actually, because after the rain it's the perfect time to come and, well, enjoy the garden and get on with some of the work. So the thing about mornings like this morning, and this is going to be the pace now sort of through August and September, is I always have to remind myself that, you know, for every hour or so that I'm spending in the garden, I need to remember that I'm going to need to spend an hour or more in the kitchen when I get home to get all my lovely produce stored, preserved, whatever. So it's one of those days where I think I could quite happily just stay all day. Some nice little breaks, maybe some time in the deck chair, just lolling around. Oh, it would be lovely. But of course I've done all those pickings today and a whole load more tomatoes. So I reckon I've got about a good 3 or 4 hours of time to spend in the kitchen this afternoon. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pack everything up, tidy everything away, get my produce home as quickly as I can, wrapped up in that little cold towel with the frozen water bottle, and get cracking for a steaming afternoon in the kitchen. So I shall say cheerio to you all for now. I hope you're getting some rain too. I know there have been parts of the country which are still really dry, but hopefully over the next few weeks it will be business as usual. We'll be having lots of rain. In fact, we'll be having so much rain there'll be days when we can't get into the garden and we'll be miserable. Whatever you're at in terms of your rain, heat, whatever's going on, I hope you're starting to reap lots and lots of rewards for all your hard work in the spring with your sowings and prickings and plantings and weedings and all that stuff we did for months on end. So enjoy your harvests, enjoy your kitchen time. I will see you all again really soon, I hope, probably in the kitchen. Until then, cheerio and take care.